Don't you hate wrestling with predictability? The garbage man, the sexy boy, boring ass TV? How did I get to work in here? Somebody tell me, please. The WWF is confusing to me. With Vince as mean as you've ever seen. I told old Patterson I'm done here in June. When a sudden voice inside me whispered, Vinny, don't sell your dream so soon. And everywhere I look, there's a Ted with a hand to hold on to. And everywhere I look, there's a place and a promotion who needs you. And it's there you'll book when you're lost out there and you're all alone. And WCW's waiting to carry you home. It's there you'll book. And it's there I'll book. A doobity-ba-ba-ba, headed to Atlanta and listen to this podcast. It's all right, even though it fucking makes fun of everything I've ever done. Backbone Wrestling Network, welcome back to episode 33 of Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW? I'm Scott Sheffley. Joining me as always is Logan Crossland. Logan, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
As my name on StreamYard says, I am spring stampeding out of my chair. So hopefully I don't fall like I did on Lincoln of Luchas recently, but I am ready to spring stampede all over this podcast.
Yeah, going back to the Lincoln Up Luchas, if you listen to our live watch of season season 3 finale, my apologies, Logan, I always want to bump up the season, you will hear Logan fall down, and me and Jacob Williams, being the nice podcasters and friends that we are, we were already laughing. We just continue laughing at Logan. Thankfully, like a little inside baseball, we record with videos on. I don't know why, because it doesn't even go on YouTube, but it's just for us to bullshit and talk and see each other's beautiful faces. Like I see Logan's beautiful face right now. Mm-hmm. He's getting his winter beard ready, just for everyone out there. So when he fell, someone might have created a GIF of it. So, but I'm just saying there might be a GIF out there of Logan falling, which he does it somehow in slow motion falling. It's hilarious, but if we launch a Patreon ever, that might be the first thing.
Like the chair broke, and then I suddenly was like, "Oh shit!" and fell back. So
yes, and you just hear me laughing the whole time because something was happening with Dario, which was hilarious. But yeah, check it out, Lincoln Up Luchas. It's every other Thursday here. We are done with season 3. Sally only got 11 episodes left, guys, of that. That's been a fun run for us. It's going to feel weird actually ending a podcast. We haven't done that since 7 Months of Danger back on the No-So feed. If you want to look at that in the archives, that's what we're already friends, but that's what brought all of us together. That pretty much then launched the Backbone. We added some people here and there, Jenny and Keithy, but that was like the core group of people. Well, that and Highway, but I'm not really on Highway, so I don't fucking count that. Which is
we did want you to be a permanent guest host when Sean wasn't there, and I'm pretty sure the only 3 or 4 times you've shown up, Sean was also there. So That didn't really work out too well for us.
No, it didn't. I was supposed to be
you.
Sean's replacement, and I've only showed up like on the special episodes. Like when I think they had their 100th, I called in, wished everyone good luck, and then left. Like I was a fucking call-in, or just another random time when I was feeling bored on a Friday night. So like, yeah,
Yep.
times have changed with Friday nights. But what we're talking about tonight, Logan, not a Friday night, close, but a Sunday night. Spring Stampede 2000. Before we dig in, what were your overall thoughts of this pay-per-view?
That's a loaded question. It felt like one of those shows that had a lot of potential. Some matches don't end up being all that bad, but everything just feels super rushed. We'll get into it, but I feel like they could have done like the earlier rounds of the tournaments that they end up doing on the show tonight, kind of on Nitro and Thunder before they got here, instead of just doing the world title stuff on Nitro and all the promos and segments that they had on that. Maybe could have done some of these earlier rounds of the U.S. title tournament. And like I said, we'll get into it, but maybe just done the championship matches here and given each one of them a little bit more time than they did. But especially the U.S. title tournament, I feel like it probably had some opportunities to have some good stuff, and they didn't get enough time.
Yeah, it has 14 matches on the show, guys. So buckle in. But yeah, Logan explained it perfectly. It had a lot of potential, but did not live up to it. Like we have stuff that I was watching the show and like a match ended and I was like, oh, we only got 3 more matches left. Then the fucking hardcore match came out of nowhere because I completely forgotten about it. Which also, they say Terry Funk's not in the Millionaires Club, and I'm like, come on. The fucking Terry in the Millionaires Club. Like,
I'm in my own army.
He's old. Yeah, like it's just absurd. But let's kick it off. We are it's April 16th, 2000, of course, for Spring Stampede. We're in Chicago, Illinois at the United Center, which ironically I'm watching right now on my own personal rewatch of 97 WCW and WWF. And they're at the United Center from Nitro, and they sold that thing out. This show was not sold out, Logan. Seemed pretty close, but not sold out at all.
Of course, it's
so the show starts off with. Oh, we're off and running tonight, boys and girls.
Oh God.
So we see highlights from Nitro and Thunder, with the first ones being Russo versus Flair, with Russo taking Flair's Rolex. Russo saying Flair will be his New York bitch, and then it transitions to Bischoff versus Hogan, with Bischoff turning on Hogan. Hogan saying he's going to eat Eric's ass, which is said multiple times tonight, and then the white Hummer taking out Hogan. We then start backstage with Eric pacing in front of Billy, Tori, and Russo. Eric says, how the hell did Hogan check himself out of the hospital anyways? Then asks Billy what's he's going to do. Billy says, we're going to fire up the Hummer and finish off the job. They all tell Eric to relax. And then we get another intro, talk about everything that happened on Nitro with all the titles being given up, everyone fighting, like the Millionaires Club and the New Blood, which we've talked about. And then Tony welcomes us to Spring Stampede and says by the end of tonight, we will have new champions. And he asks, will the New Blood step up or the Millionaires Club rise up? Scott Hudson, Tony Schiavone, and Mark Madden, who we haven't seen since Take Abbott whooped his ass, talk about tournaments. Scott says how they stacked the deck for the New Blood in the U.S. title tournament and sort of the tag title tournament. Because it's only one, and Sting's the only person in the Millionaires Club because Sid basically took his ball and went home. As per Grooney, who hit me up after this podcast, thanks Grooney, that dropped on Friday, the Friday for the most previous release. He said that Sid actually, wrong one. Sorry guys. That Sid actually left because he was complaining about money, and he supposedly had a biceps injury, but he comes back on a random Nitro after Slamboree and in the build-up of Great American Bash, and then he disappears again and then returns in December. So it's basically what we said of Sid being Sid. But thanks, James, for being a listener and for filling us in on something I'll forget about when we get there in a couple months. So, Sid's out. But here we go. And I said that Mark Souza says that Jeff Jarrett will be the chosen champion over DD Me. Madden really hates DDP. Like, he shits on him every time he can tonight, Logan. Like, it's fucking personal, it feels like. Um,
Yeah, he owes him money or something.
and then we're like, it's real bad. Like, did he not let Kimberly, like, not let Madden fuck Kimberly or something? Who knows? And we are told that Vince and Eric have told the refs to be lax with the DQ calls and that people can push the envelope. Tony says we will see fights tonight. So let's kick off the show with the first round of the tag tournament, which is the Mamalukes with Disco uh, versus Team Package. The Mamalukes come out first, and then Mean Gene's out with talking with Team Package. Flair says he's in a street gear because Russo said it's a street fight, and then he woos and walks off. Madden says that Hulk Hogan will not be here tonight, but Scott says we've heard that Hogan has checked himself out of the hospital. Lex and Liz are out first, and they wait for Flair. And when Flair comes out, but then Russo music hits, and he says, "What happened to the even playing field?" Russo says we have 2 crafty veterans versus 2 rookies, and Russo says we will send out the boys. Out comes the Harris brothers. So the Harris brothers are now on the same tag team with the Mama Lukes. I don't know what happens or who gets what if they win. Spoiler alert, they don't. But the Harris boys slide in, and they start beating down Luger, and Mama Lukes take out Flair. Then Luger and Flair start fighting back, and Luger and the Harris brothers go on the out. They're fighting on the outside. Flair gets a figure 4 on Giant Bull, but breaks it for some reason. And then when he breaks it, Vito hits a Mafia kick on Flair. Vito hits a back elbow on Flair, and now everyone's on the ring apron. I thought it was like tornado tag rules at first. Luger interferes while Flair's getting his ass beat. And then there's just no tag at all, but the Harris brothers get in and they hit a double boot to Flair, and this gets 2. One of the Harris brothers beats down Flair in the corner. I don't really know which one. But when one of the Harris boys come after Flair, he gets an elbow up. And then he tries to get on the top rope, but the Harris Pro slams him off the top. We get the tag to the other Harris Pro, and that Harris brother misses 2 elbow drops because Flair just rolls out of the ring. Flair gets a tag, but the ref doesn't see it, despite the quote unquote new blood not tagging each other. Luger's forced out, and then Disco grabs Lex and throws him into the ring post while the 4 are beating down Flair. Liz takes out Disco. We're told the camera completely misses it. Vito and Johnny beat down Flair. The Harris Bros help them. And then 2 guys come and take Disco away. So I guess since Russo's back, they're going back to him owing Disco owing money storyline. The Mamalukes and Harris Brothers then start to fight amongst themselves on who gets the win, despite being pins earlier. Luger tags in and takes out everyone. Luger makes fun of Vito's like movements, acting like he's Italian. Luger makes fun of Vito because Vito took forever coming off the top rope, like he was waiting for him, and like Luger, you can see Luger doing his hand gesture, like, "Come on, dude, hurry the fuck up." Johnny the Bull and Luger in the ring. Luger Irish whips Johnny the Bull, and he jumps on the top rope and hits a nice clothesline. That was pretty fucking dope. This gets 2. Vito then gets up and hits Bull by accident. Luger racks Bull, and he quits. It's over. Team Package advances to the finals. Logan, this is a harbinger of things to come tonight, where everything is just a clusterfuck. The rules are throwing around slapstick style, like they said, but it's like even worse when like tags. Some people can tag, and then they do the thing where the ref didn't see the tag. It's just slapstick. But decent match. We're Mama Luke fans, so I'm not going to hate them too much. I do hate the Harris brothers, but what do you think?
Yeah, it was fine. The idiot New Blood teams, the Mamalukes and the Harris brothers, instead of teaming together to defeat Flair and Package, they fight each other eventually. I mean, they do team up for a good bit, but they eventually turn on each other because it's not at all what they were supposed to do. The common goal was to have the Mamalukes win so they could be in the finals, so no old teams could be there. But yeah, hate the Harris brothers. The Mamalukes have been great. I feel like throughout the night, Luger actually works his ass off, which is shocking. I feel like he's pretty good in the next match that they have later on tonight too. But yeah, again, nothing special. Flair wrestling and polo and slacks. Like, I'll get into that point, another point with that later. But it's just lazy. But like I said, I'll get into it later. But yeah, just idiotic new blood teams fighting each other instead of fighting the common opponent and going towards the common goal, which was to win the tag team titles. So the old bastards don't have it anymore.
Yeah, Flair says in his book he didn't like his body, so that's why he wrestled like this. I think it draws attention to it. Also think it draws attention to it, Logan. It's just not a good look either way.
Yeah, I think it has the opposite effect. I think if that's what you're trying to hide, then like we know you're hiding it. Like just deal with it and just wrestle like you've always wrestled. Nobody cares, you know. You're Ric fucking Flair. Like nobody thinks because you're a little flabby, you know, that you're worse. You know, you're worse because you're old. But you know, and he obviously didn't have a problem with it. And like you know, the following few years because he goes to WWE and wrestles without shirts and pants for you know almost another decade.
Yeah. It was just a whole psychological thing, I guess. We go backstage to Mean Gene, which because WCW beat him down. He talks about it so much in his book, like he felt worthless. That's why he beats Bischoff's ass when Bischoff comes to Raw in 2003, I want to say. So we go backstage to Mean Gene. Spoiler, this happens a lot tonight. Mean Gene's got his working shoes on. Mike Awesome, we were told, is in the U.S. title tournament, and he's facing Ernest the Cat Miller. Awesome says he's going to take out all 9 of the Cat's lives, which I thought was pretty good. Bam Bam shows up and asks, where did we get this jabroni? Mike tells him to get the hell away from him, and then when Bam Bam turns around and leaves, he beats down Bam Bam. So then we, instead of leading to the Mike Awesome match, we're showing this match, which this feud was just on radio, which does not fucking help me in the year 2025, Logan. But it's Jimmy Hart versus Mancow, and they keep saying an eye for an eye match because Jimmy Hart like attacked Mancow's eye on the radio. It's not an eye for an eye match. I thought they ripped it off Extreme Rules 2000 when Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins had the eye for an eye match, but that's not the case. So Jimmy Hart is out first with some giant. They don't even say his name at first until later. Jimmy gets on the mic and says Mancow is a Howard Stern wannabe, which, to be honest, it seems like he is, because Mancow comes out with some hose and some, I guess it's supposed to be his freaks like Howard Stern has his freaks. Mancow gets on the mic and says, you piece of shit. He thanks Eric Bischoff for the match, says he loves the city, and says this son of a bitch Pearl Harbored me in my own studio. Jimmy Hartland turns around and Mancow attacks him. Mark Madden does his best Joey Styles impersonation and screams catfight. And they finally name the big guy Hale, and he distracts Mancow, and Jimmy attacks him. It's just choking and punches. Jimmy goes on the middle rope and then the top rope, but Mancow pulled the ref onto him so he would take the blow when Jimmy dove off. Mancow takes down Jimmy Hart, but Hale gets in the ring and throws Mancow onto his entourage. Hale then leaves for some fucking reason after he throws Mancow in the ring. He gets the ref. One of the entourage gives Mancow a chair, and he hits Jimmy Hart and then pins him. We are mercifully over this match. Logan, I'm assuming like you didn't watch the James Brown shit. You did not watch this match either. Am I correct?
No, I suffered through it. My only 2 notes, though, are, yes, this is a real match that is happening, and then, dear God, that was a match that happened. So I did not break down any moves or anything like that. Completely not shown on TV at all. Obviously built over the radio, like you said, but I knew this was a match that happened, but I did not know that it was going to happen on this show that we're discussing tonight. But yeah, just probably a terrible, awful waste of pay-per-view time.
I mean, it must have worked because I saw a bunch of people with signs in the crowd for Mancow. So, like, what the fuck do I know?
We were also children when this happened, so we have no idea who.
Yeah, it looks like
was or how popular he was.
Looks like he was popular for a little bit.
I'm sure he was.
Who knows? I don't know, but not as bad as Bubba Love Sponge. So as Mancow celebrates and leaves, Billy Kidman's music hits and he comes down. He beats down Jimmy Hart, and then he just leaves the ring. Then we go backstage to see Russo yelling at Harris Boys and the Mama Luke, and he calls them a bunch of losers. which I thought was pretty good. So this leads us to match 3, the first round of the U.S. title tourney. Our favorite, The Wall, versus one of our other favorites, Scott Steiner. I say new blood on new blood crime. We get a collar and elbow tie up, and then Scott pounds on Wall in the corner and picks him up, but went for an Irish whip. But Wall hits Scott with a knee and then punches and chokes him in the corner. Then he gets 2 punches, and Scott hits Wall in the nuts, which, the ref thing, they're not going to call it DQ. Scott hits a belly to belly. Scott starts working over Wall's back. Wall gets an elbow of his own, then hits Scott in the nuts as well. Then he hits a big boot and a leg drop. This gets 2. Wall picks Scott up by the neck and picks him up and just chokes him, and then he just drops him to the ground like a sack of shit. Wall picks up Scott. Scott reversed and dropped Wall on the top rope first. They battle on the outside. Wall throws Scott into the safety rail. Wall brings out a table and was setting it up. And Scott slams Wall head first on the table. Scott tries to suplex Wall through the table, but Wall reverses it. Wall went for a choke slam through the table, but Scott eye rakes him, and he pulls a ref in his place. But Wall couldn't see, and I guess didn't realize the ref lost 150 pounds and struck 8 inches, and he choke slams the ref through the table. Another ref runs down and DQs the Wall. The Wall then chases after the ref for DQing him. So despite not saying we're getting any relaxing the DQ rule, I guess the limit is a choke slam on the ref, Logan.
Yeah, I thought this was a solid match, honestly. I thought they had a pretty good back and forth. Steiner, somebody I feel like hadn't been wrestling all that long since we've been doing this podcast, or hadn't wrestled very much. But he's been pretty good in the stuff we have seen. Wall's somebody we've kind of underrated so far. So, yeah, I thought it was a solid match, but terribly ruined by a dumb finish because, like you said, the DQ rule seems pretty lax, and then it just randomly blows up in his face at the end. So, again, I thought it was a pretty entertaining match for what it was. It didn't go very long, obviously. I don't think much goes more than about 5 minutes on this card until we get a little bit later on in the card. But solid for what it was. Bad finish.
Yeah, so here's the match times for horrible finish. Here's the times right now. 6:11 for the tag title match. 2:48 for Mancow versus Jimmy Hart. 3:53 for Scott Steiner versus The Wall. So that's what we're dealing with right now, guys. So we go backstage to Mean Gene and the Cat. Mean Gene says he's going to steal the Cat's woman, which made me laugh. Cat said Mike Awesome that he's here to dance, and he said that WCW is a big redneck company. And then Bam Bam Bigelow jumps the Cat, I guess, to take him out of the match. We'll talk about this. And then we see Mike Awesome debuting on Monday and beating down Kevin Nash. This leads us to match 4, which is Mike Awesome versus Bam Bam Bigelow in the U.S. title quarterfinal, ? The reason why the question mark is you'll see. Mike Awesome's out first. Bam Bam runs down and attacks him. Bam Bam throws Mike Awesome in the guardrail, and then he throws Mike in the ring, and Mike hits probably the worst big boot ever. It was real bad, Logan. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ. But then he knocks Bam Bam out of the ring and hits a Pescado. I was glad I knew that move, Logan. Bam Bam then throws Mike into the guardrail again, despite being hit with that move. And then Mike is able to get an eye rake and throws Bam Bam back in the ring. Throws him into the crowd. Then Mike gets a running start, and he dives over the guardrail, taking out Bam Bam, which looked pretty fucking dope. I'm not going to lie. Mike then throws Bam Bam back to the arena and back in the ring, hits a clothesline and goes up top and hits a top rope clothesline and gets 2. Bam Bam reversed the power slam that Mike was doing, and he got 2 of his own. Bam Bam then slammed Mike and then went up top and hit the flying headbutt. Cat then runs in and kicks Bam Bam with a kick, and I guess it kills him because we don't see Bam Bam again tonight. It's like a super kick. It was like, okay, and he just fucking disappears. Cat gets on the mic and says it's pretty much how it was. And says he came here to be a winner. He says, I'm a dancer, y'all fools. So in the middle of the match, he puts on his red shoes and starts dancing. Mike Awesome's finally able to get up and kills Cat with a clothesline. And then he goes up top and hits a frog splash. Mike Awesome pins the Cat and somehow wins the match. Cat wasn't even the match, but Mike Awesome advances. All of this was just 4 minutes flat, guys, and it did not make any sense. As Conan says, it did not make logic. But it was horrible. I kind of liked the Mike Awesome and Bam Bam part. I felt they needed that.
Yeah.
I don't know why Cat had to run in. They could have just had Mike Awesome beat Bam Bam, like because there was a small ECW chant when this match started, so like people knew what the fuck was up. But to have Cat run in, dance, and then just eat a clothesline, you could have been like Cat and Bam Bam had like a small feud or something because of this. Like, it's just dumb.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen maybe Cat and Bam Bam have a feud after this or something like that. It's like you said. But yeah, I thought the action between Awesome and Bam Bam was pretty solid. Like you said, it had a tinge of an ECW kind of thing. I don't think Awesome was around when Bam Bam was kind of big, and I don't even think he was there when he was still there, honestly. But both guys obviously come from ECW, so it had a cool little feel like that. They had some pretty solid back and forth with each other. But then, yeah, like you said, Cat comes out, and then somehow Awesome beats Bigelow by pinning the Cat. So just very confusing ending. But yeah, another solid match ruined by kind of a terrible, awful finish.
Well, we're about to see a terrible, awful match coming up, but we got to get to that first. So we go backstage to see Russo telling Eric to relax as everything's under control. Eric says Loverboy needs to relax, and it looks like Kidman was, putting the moves on Tori, which just fuck you, Billy Kidman. Fuck you. I know they're no longer married, but he got to hit it, and just fuck you. Kidman says he took care of business tonight. Russo tells Eric to relax, and then we go to Mean Gene with Shane and Buff, who I can't come up with a good nickname for them. Don't worry, I don't think they are even tag title people for a long time. But Buff says Harlem Heat is a roadblock and says it's all about the new blood. Shane Douglas says Space Mountain is closed as of tonight, which is a pretty good line. Shane says we are the future, we are the new blood, our time is now. See, if it was actually rookies that they were doing this with, Buck Bagwell had been in WCW for so long, he was WCW Rookie of the Year 4 years in a row. Shane was a dynamic dude, which they allude to on commentary. That was in the 80s, so it's not really young people. Same with Scott Steiner. Like maybe Jeff Jarrett because he hasn't been in, like he's been in WWF in 94, and it's only 6 years ago, but like, that's the problem I have the new blood. They should come up with something else,
Mm-hmm.
Not Frontline.
Yeah,
That was fucking terrible. That was a terrible name, TNA.
Yeah, I mean, Buff at that point been there for 10 years. I mean, he's probably more of a veteran in the company than pretty much anybody other than maybe Flair and Luger. Well, Sting too, I guess. But
yeah,
yeah,
like definitely. Yeah, like it's just absurd. So this leads to match 5: Harlem Heat 2000 versus the Franchise and Buff. Harlem Heat's out first. The Franchise and Buff slide in the ring, and all four start fighting. Stevie Ray with a big slam to Shane, then misses the elbow drop. Shane tags to Buff, and he kicks Stevie Ray. Buff hits a swinging neck breaker and then punches Stevie Ray. We get a tag to Big T, who hits a spine buster, and then Stevie Ray hits a leg drop. Then Buff's able to get up, and he hits a back elbow on Big T, then hits a Vader bomb. I was shocked that he busted that out and got 2. Buff gets a hot tag to the Franchise, and Big T tags to Stevie Ray. Franchise beats down both members of Harlem Heat. Cash starts beating up Buff on the outside, and the number advantage gets to Shane. Stevie Ray and Big T were about to hit Shane, but the ref starts yelling at Stevie Ray. So Stevie Ray turns around. The Franchise hits Big T in the nuts, and Big T just waddles over to the corner. Then Shane hits the Pittsburgh plunge and pins Stevie Ray. I just have what the fuck right here. And after the match, Harlem Heat then argues, but Cash and Jay Biggs breaks it up. This was nothing match, Logan. This went 241. Everything we've seen out of Big T here has just been awful. I don't think he's long for this world. I think, and I know Stevie Ray is on an announcer for Thunder in like November, so like not long for this world at all.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping this might be it for old Big T. He is awful, and he is sucking wind hard at the end of this match, to the point where like he could have probably broken up the pinfall that Shane puts on Stevie Ray. To the point of like, I'm like, what the hell was that ending? What the hell happened? Like, cause like they acted like he hit the Pittsburgh plunge, but then they kind of act like he didn't, like he just ends up hitting like a pile driver or something. Like they act like he was going for a move and then it didn't quite work out because it seemed like maybe Stevie kind of sandbagged him a little bit, but Big T definitely could have broken up the pin. I'm pretty sure Cash or whatever his name is was on the side of the ring where he could have like pulled Stevie's leg on the rope or something like that. So it just didn't seem like it made much sense if they're supposed to be dastardly kind of heels that they didn't try to really break up the pin there at the end, because it definitely could have happened. And we're already seemingly breaking up Harlem Heat 2000. Definitely a failed project. Probably never should have done that in the first place. Should have just had a Booker Stevie feud again, and then kind of blown it off with those two. But I'm kind of hoping this is the end of Harlem Heat 2000.
Yeah. I think it is from what I'm seeing, but that remains to be seen. Just a horrible match. Like you said, like everything was just bad. It's just horrible. But the one good member of Harlem Heat is Booker, and he's with me and Gene in the back. Booker says he's not with the New Blood, and says him and Bischoff never seen eye to eye, and he says he has Sting tonight for in the U.S. title tournament. I think this is good because Booker was a babyface in this, and like New Blood seemed to be heels, besides like Vampiro, who's a heel now. So Booker not being part of the New Blood actually I think does more for him, and it puts him on an island on his own, which we'll see. Sucks for a little bit and then picks up around July. But I like this a lot, and it shows through in this next match, which, Logan, we don't have much to pick from for matches, good matches tonight, but I think this might be the best match next. What do you think?
No, I definitely agree. It still probably wasn't given a ton of time. I can't remember exactly how long it was, but
oh no, it goes 6:34. We're about to go over, but it goes 6:34. But
yeah,
it
definitely starts kind of slow, but we'll get into it.
Also, it's the only match with a clean finish out of the 14 guys. Spoiler alert. And don't even get me started. So I know I'm a homer. But the next match, I know I said it's the best match on the card, but it's slim pickings here. I know Sean, if he ever listens, will give me shit, and I'll be like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but then it'll remind me. I'm like, oh yeah. But it's match 6, Booker versus Sting, U.S. title, first round. Madden says him and Sting don't like each other, so they've never spoken in years. Okay, Madden, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I have people I don't like at work either, and I just ignore them. So both men stare each other down and shove each other. We get a collar and elbow tie-up. Booker gets on a headlock, and then he hits a shoulder charge. Sting's able to get a hip toss after this. They circle each other again. We do another collar and elbow. Booker gets a knee to the gut and starts hammering Sting. Booker punches Sting, and Sting ducks a clothesline and slams Booker. Then he clotheslines him over the top rope. Sting follows Booker out, and Booker actually kicks Sting. Sting Irish whips Booker into the cameraman, and I don't think the cameraman was supposed to be there because you can actually hear Sting yelling at the cameraman to get the hell out of the way. Don't know if you caught that, Logan. So I was like, oh, okay. Sting then charges Booker, but Booker drops him head first onto the announce table. Booker throws Sting in the ring, and Booker hits an elbow drop, and this gets 2. Booker gets a chin lock, and Sting tries to fight out, but Booker gets a knee to the gut and gets 2 again. Booker gets a snapmare and then hits a knee drop. This also gets 2. Booker with another headlock. Sting starts fighting out of it and gets out of the headlock. Booker gets a knee and then hits his axe kick that gets 2 as well. Booker hits a flapjack on Sting. Then Booker hits the spinneroonie, but he misses the Harlem sidekick, and Sting hits a DDT and gets 2. Sting hits a Stinger splash and went for a second one, but Booker actually hits a Harlem sidekick, which I thought was pretty cool. You don't really see that a lot. I like when wrestlers do that stuff. We see it a lot now more commonly. Sting dodged a clothesline, but hits Booker with a cross body that gets 2. Booker floats out of a suplex that Sting was trying. Then Sting floats out of a slam that Booker tried and hits the Scorpion death drop, and Sting wins. After the match, Sting's walking in the ring in the aisle. Booker grabs Sting and pulls him back in the ring and fist bumps him. So, like, a sign of respect, definitely pushing Booker as like, hey, he's a baby face in this. So, which I think is pretty good because Booker definitely, I feel, has momentum, and I know it's coming. So it's nice to see that with like the added insight. But it definitely seems like they're taking Booker away from the New Blood, which we saw that on Thunder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they kind of alluded to it already, and it works out for some of these guys like Booker that were kind of catching heat, or kind of starting to heat up before this whole thing started. So He can kind of exist on his own. I kind of feel like throughout the night they kind of start doing that with Steiner too. I feel like he's new blood adjacent, but I feel like he's kind of like emerging on his own at the same time a little bit. Like I said, this one kind of started a little slow in the first like couple minutes, but the last 2.5 to 3 minutes were really fast paced, really energetic. And the end came out and finished pretty well. So good to see that they kind of showed respect at the end. And yeah, it really heated up there at the end and got to be pretty entertaining. Only if it could have gone a little bit longer. But yeah, definitely match of the night so far. And probably sad enough for this card. Match of the night for probably the whole card, honestly.
Yeah, I definitely feel that it is. Just because like it's the only one with like a clean finish. There's no fuckery. Like somehow there's even fuckery in a hardcore match. I don't know how.
Yeah, like the next match had potential, but it we'll talk about it.
Fucking veer sideways, and there's we'll talk about that in a minute, Logan. Yes. Yeah. So we're back to Mean Gene with Tori, Billy, and Eric. Eric is scared, looking around, saying Hogan being here is a rumor. Billy tells him don't sweat the small stuff because Billy crippled his ass on Nitro. That's right. Billy's talking in the third person. We get match 7, which is Vampiro versus Billy Kidman. The winner will face Sting in the U.S. title tournament. Madden says Hogan is what WCW now stands for, which is wheelchair wrestling, which, like I said, one of the ones that Madden hit for. He does a lot of misses tonight, and I didn't matter writing them down, but just like Souza with his jokes, Matt Madden, not a hit with all these jokes. So the match starts, and Billy misses a dive, and Vampiro punches and headbutts Kidman. Vampiro clotheslines Kidman into the turnbuckle, then he hits a belly-to-belly suplex. Vampiro goes up top and hits a clothesline. This gets 2. Kidman then slides under Vampiro, hits a hurricanrana, and then a nice drop kick. Kidman gets 10 punches in the corner, then Vampiro hits a powerbomb on Kidman. Vampiro hits a side suplex, then went for a powerbomb, but Kidman hit a facebuster. Kidman punches Vampiro and then slams him into the turnbuckle. Kidman slams Vampiro and hits a guillotine lead drop from the ring apron. This gets 2. Vampiro just starts kicking Billy. Billy then kicks Vampiro, hits a backbreaker and gets 2. Kidman starts choking Vampiro with his boot. Kidman goes for a suplex, but Vampiro reverses it and hits one of his own. Vamp picks up Billy and hits a chokeslam and gets 2. Vampiro went for nail in the coffin, but Billy gets another facebuster that gets 2. Billy then throws Vamp out of the ring. Billy hits Vamp's knee on the steps, which it didn't look like that was supposed to happen because Vampiro's so like, fuck! Like when he got hit on the steps. Like, I don't know what Billy was trying to do. They get back in the ring, and Vampiro hits a front kick. This gets 2. Vamp gets an armbar and then goes for another one. Billy hits a DDT. This gets 2. We see a Dodge Charger pull up, and out comes Hulk Hogan. He's looking for Kidman. Kidman is distracted by this, and Vamp attacks him. Hogan then slides in the ring, and Kidman attacks Hulk. Hulk throws Billy out of the ring. Hogan makes Billy his bitch and beats him around ringside. Hogan tried to throw steps at Billy, but he missed because that probably would have killed him. Hogan then picks up Billy and throws him on the announce table. It doesn't break. Hogan then slams Billy through the table, and this time it breaks. He picks up Billy and slaps him around. He throws him in the ring, and Hogan tells Vamp to pin Billy. This makes 0 sense because it's supposed to be a new blood. Shouldn't Vamp been trying to whoop Hogan's ass to help Billy because he's one of the fucking millionaires club? God damn it, makes sense. So yeah, so we're just gonna stop there because Hogan gets on the mic after this and talks. So that's another thing. But this makes no sense, Logan. Like, they've had a pretty good chemistry. They had that match together at Uncensored that we enjoyed. But this, like, why is Vamp, like, Vamp should try to whoop Hogan's ass too because he's part of the Millionaires Club that's held him down. It's like, it makes no sense. It should have just been Hogan comes out, costs Billy the match, then whoops Billy's ass after the match. It shouldn't have to been all this shit where, they DQ a motherfucker for chokeslamming a ref through the table. This ref just watched Hogan fucking make Billy his bitch and bitch slap him around. It's just so fucking frustrating.
Yeah. This felt like a match that could have been more. Like you said, they've faced each other before, and we enjoyed it. But it kind of just felt like they were building towards that interference. They didn't really go all out. I don't feel like, or like they could have at least. I definitely think they could have done a lot more than they did, but it seemed like they were just kind of building towards Hogan eventually coming out. So, but yeah, just dumb. They both should have tried to murder fucking Hogan, and then just kind of got back to the regular match. But obviously that doesn't happen. And like you said, Hogan beats Kidman's ass basically, and no DQ is called. But I guess you literally have to attack the ref for it to be a DQ in this situation. But I get it being like all vacant titles and stuff like that, but it's got to be a line. If you're gonna do a DQ in one match, you gotta kind of figure out what that rule is or what that line is, you know?
Yeah, like this match is the longest match of the night so far. It's 8:28, and I shit you not, it feels like 2 minutes of this 8:28 is Hogan getting out of the fucking car, whooping Billy Kidman's ass. Maybe 2.5 minutes. Like, that's all that is. And it's just so absurd. And a little nitpick about Billy Kidman, I'm not a wrestler, but once you see a lot of his matches, that motherfucker loves doing the facebuster from a powerbomb. He should probably have cut that out. Not do it as much. He did it twice this match. Mm-hmm. It's a fucking crutch. It looks pretty dope, but goddamn, like, what are we doing? So Hogan gets on the mic and says, Bischoff, I hope you're watching, you son of a bitch. I'm coming after your ass right now. We see Bischoff panicking and says he's leaving. Russo actually says you are sitting duck. This building isn't that big. Because I don't know if you remember, Logan, we made fun of like how people would be searching for someone backstage. I was like, how big are these fucking buildings? Yeah. And now Russo's like saying like, building isn't that big. So Russo leaves. Eric is scared. We see Hogan walking backstage, and he walks past his car, and he screams, "Don't touch my car." Hogan says he's going to drag Bischoff around Chicago until he smells as bad as Rodman. Hogan keeps screaming where he's at. He finally finds the dressing room, and Bischoff picks up a chair. Hogan starts choking Eric, and then Russo comes back in with cops. Cops legit pull fucking guns on Hogan.
Yes, lots of them.
Like, yeah, I'm like, God damn. Eric says, don't arrest him, shoot him. And then, like, so they arrest Hogan. Hogan's yelling about eating Eric's ass alive. That's all he keeps talking about. Save that foreplay for later, guys. He said it'll be at Nitro tomorrow.
And I feel like he said that recently, too. Like, a lot.
Yeah, he says it a lot. Yeah. That was one of the promo things with him saying he was going to eat Eric's ass. And then he says he's going to stick the guns up Eric's ass. A lot of ass play going on. What'd you think of that? Like, I know what this is turning into, Logan, and it feels like they're trying to give Hogan an edge, and it just ain't working for me, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like they're trying to. The gun thing was definitely a little off the top. They pull like 8 guns on him. And
yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
What the hell is going on right here? I don't know. If Hogan's going to be involved, you have to make him a big deal. He does draw a lot of money. He is the cash cow. He did make them a lot of money. He made them as big as they ever were, and ever end up being, obviously. So you have to feature him prominently. You can't not, as much as they try not to. And he's not going to give to the younger generation or whatever, because that's just not who he is, and that's was never his plan or never anything he wanted to do. So you either have to let him go, or if you're going to have him and use him, you have to use him in a prominent position, and that's just not probably what WCW needed at this point. But fans love him. Fans still cheer for him, freak out for him. So you can't blame them. But at the same time, I think they just kind of needed to move on from him in a holistic kind of way.
Yeah, it's.
You're caught between a rock and a hard place. You're giving away a guy that made you a lot of money, but he also is probably hampering your future.
Yeah, it's we're fucked. Basically, what it is. So, literally, as they're leading Hogan away to arrest him, we see Terry Taylor talking to Terry Funk, and he says Norman is scared to fight tonight, and Terry Taylor tells Norm, and Terry Funk asks where he's at, and Terry Taylor says he's at catering. Turn at the Doritos. We literally see Doritos laying on a table, and then that's where Terry turns in catering. He asks where Norman is in catering. They all point to the bathroom. Terry goes in the bathroom, and Norman starts screaming. Terry drags Norman out of the bathroom, and they starts beating him down. The bell rings. So our match starts, which is Terry Funk versus Norman for the hardcore title, which, to be honest, they should probably just fucking get rid of, but it stays until January 2001. That's a whole nother thing. We'll get there in a couple years. So Terry sprays Norman with a fire extinguisher, and then Terry throws all the soda cans on Norman that were in the fridge right there. It's just an ass whooping. Terry throws Norman through a kitchen window where they were like, food's ready. Terry starts crawling through the window, and Norman starts beating him down. Norman heats Terry with a cookie sheet. Norman throws Terry in a trash can, and then Norman kicks the trash can. Terry then finds a laptop and starts beating Norman with it, and this gets a 2. Norman climbs up a ladder to go to who knows fucking where, and Norman starts holding on to the plumbing in the ceiling, but Terry puts a table under him and hits Norman with a chair, and then Norman goes to the table. If that would have been the ending, Logan, it would have been an amazing ending, because I thought that was pretty fucking funny. So, like, they start, like, walking, brawling. At this point, it's what they've been doing the whole time. Terry throws a chair at Norman, but misses. Norman walks through a door and grabs a chair, and he starts beating Terry with the chair when he walks through the door. They are nearing the ring. Terry's throwing all kinds of shit at Norman, just like whatever you could think of. He throws it. They battle in an aisleway, but Norman keeps hitting Terry with chair shots. They're in the ring now, and Norman just fucking brains Terry with the chair. Norman does the big wiggle, but Terry hits Norman with the chair, then throws the chair at Norman. Norman leaves the ring. They battle outside the ring. Terry pulls out another ladder that was underneath the ring. This brings out Dustin Rhodes, and he beats down Terry. He pile drops Terry on a chair. Dustin tried to come off the middle rope and hit Terry, but Terry gets his foot up, and like this takes out Dustin. Terry then drops a ladder on Norman and pins him on the outside, and Terry wins. This was just a clusterfuck, chaotic match, Logan. These hardcore matches are fun in doses. At least it's not a block match, but this match didn't really do it for me, to be honest. Like, it was just it was just a 2000 hardcore match. If you like it, you like it. I just wasn't feeling this one.
Yeah. Again, like I don't know if it was just the people that were in the WWE versions, but it just that those seem to have a certain energy to them that are more entertaining than this version. I will say this is one of the better ones we've had. I'd say from like a just battling around the arena kind of perspective. I said nothing like two belligerent old men battling around catering, because that's kind of where the match starts. And another just stupid new blood attempt. Like, Dustin tries to help Norman, but somehow two of them can't beat one Terry Funk. Terry Funk ends up fighting both of them off, and he absolutely just chucks the ladder at Norman at the end, and ends up pinning him and becoming the new hardcore champ. But yeah, these just lack some kind of, extra dose of energy or just an entertainment factor that the WWE versions had. So I don't know exactly what it is, but it's missing something for sure.
It's absurd. Like, I just wasn't feeling it. Like, they could retire the belt and I'd be happy with it, Logan. Like, just have Cruiser, Tag, US, and World, and I would be happy. But that's sadly not the case. We get Russo talking to Booker, and Russo says you need to stop pissing off Bischoff. And Russo says you need to do me a favor, and they leave together. This leads us to match 9. Mike Awesome versus Scott Steiner, second round of the U.S. title tournament. This is the semifinals. The match starts, and they circle each other. Scott takes down Awesome with a wrestling takedown and elbows Awesome in the neck. Scott picks him up and hits him with the clothesline. Scott throws Mike out of the ring. Mike tries to get back in the ring, but Scott hits him with his knees. Scott went to hit Mike with the knee again, but he gets hit with a shoulder block, which was pretty nice because he came from the ring apron in on that. This just got 2. Scott goes up top and hits a clothesline. This gets 2 as well. Mike Lynn slams Scott headfirst in the turnbuckle. Scott hits Mike in the nuts and hits a belly to belly. Scott picked up Mike and just punched him, and he just drops, which was awesome. Scott chops Mike and he jumps on the middle rope and hits a back elbow. This gets 2. Mike is able to hit a leg drop, but the crowd starts reacting to something. And that something is Kevin Nash coming down, and he hits Mike Awesome in the back when Mike Awesome was on the top rope, and and this takes him out. Scott, he gives the suck it. You can tell from, even though you just see his back, the way his arms are moving. Scott puts Mike Awesome in the Steiner recliner, and it's over. All of that for your semifinal match, guys, with the new guy that just debuted last Monday, which caused multiple lawsuits, just goes 3-14. This was just a nothing match. Like, we saw how awesome Scott Steiner could be, even though he loves doing nut shots. But yeah, just way to waste Mike Awesome, in my opinion.
Yeah, having him already lose in such short fashion. I know interference was involved and all that stuff, but not only is he losing, he's submitting to maybe the worst Steiner recliner there's ever been. Not that there's a lot of good Steiner recliners, but this one looked particularly awful. I'm probably going to shit on that move for the remainder of this pod if he continues to use it on a regular basis, because I can't stand that move because it just doesn't look like it hurts whatsoever. But this one was particularly bad. I'm glad Nash got his revenge, but again, yeah, jobbing out Awesome this quickly and as quickly into the match as it was just seems like a bad idea. But happy to see Steiner getting these opportunities and continuing to advance in the tournament.
Yeah. I mean, I wish it went a little bit longer. Like you said, they should have done had the semifinals and the finals tonight instead of cramming this whole 8-person thing in. But here we go. We go backstage to Vince Russo's yelling at Dustin about letting Terry Funk win. Booker T is with Russo at this time, and Russo fires Dustin.
Again.
All right. So, yeah. And after he's like, I made you as Gold Dust. I wrote all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. So way to peek back between the lines. This is just absurd. So we get match 10, which is Sting versus Vampiro for the U.S. title in the tournament semifinal. Vampiro's in the ring. Sting rushes the ring, but Vampiro attacks him first. Vampiro beats down Sting, and Sting beats him down so much Sting's not able to get his coat off. I say Sting stings up and starts fighting back versus Vampiro. He's able to take his coat off now. Sting punches Vampiro around the ring. Sting throws Vampiro out of the ring. Sting slams Vampiro headfirst into a chair, and Sting hits Vamp with the chair. Sting throws Vampiro back in the ring. He slams Vampiro, then goes up top into top rope splash. This gets 2. Sting throws Vamp outside the ring again and went for the Stinger Splash on the guardrail, but misses. Vampiro starts beating on Sting, hits Sting with a chair, then hits him with a super kick. Vamp throws Sting in the ring and goes up top, but then he jumps down for some reason. I don't know what the hell happened. Vampiro hits a shoulder block on Sting and then a leg drop. This gets 2. Vamp gets a back suplex, and this gets 2. Vamp kicks Sting again and hits another superplex. Vamp chops Sting twice, and then he hits a suplex. So this gets 2. Vamp slams Sting and goes up top. Vampiro went for the drop kick, but Sting swats it away. And then Sting hits the Scorpion Death Drop and then puts on the Scorpion Death Lock, and Vampiro taps. Sting wins. Vampiro got a lot of this match, Logan, and it seemed kind of fluky the way Sting won it. I don't know what Vampiro was doing when he got up top and just jumped down. Looked like his controller died or something, if this was a video game. But yeah, this match went 5:59 and was just kind of there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would probably say Sting is maybe the MVP of the night. I felt like this one wasn't terrible. It wasn't great either, but I thought it was solid at the same time. I like how they kind of, I don't know if they did this on purpose, but they kind of tied it together. Sting makes the bad decision on the outside of doing the Stinger Splash up against the guardrail. Because he was completely dominating the match before that, and he does that kind of stupidly on the outside. But they kind of tie it back because at the end, like you said, Vamp kind of goes for a high-risk move, and it kind of costs him in the end. Sting then hits the big moves and gets him to tap to the Scorpion Deathlock. So I thought that was pretty cool how they kind of tied that together. Both guys kind of make a bad decision and it ends up almost costing Sting, and then it eventually costs Vampiro when he goes up top. So another solid match, but nothing special at the same time. But Sting's definitely MVP for me for the night thus far.
Yeah, it's between him and Steiner, which ironically, the U.S. title tournament seems to be the only thing saving this card.
How ironic we go with Mean Gene finals together.
Yeah, I know, right? So with Mean Gene, with Kimberly and DDP, DDP says he can become a 3-time WCW champ tonight, and DDP says it's one thing he wants, and that's to kick that rat bastard's ass from one side of Chi-Town to another. And DDP says Kimberly will get her chance to get retribution on Jeff Jarrett, and they walk off. And it wasn't the hardcore match that I forgot about, Logan. It was this match that I forgot about, which I'm sorry, guys. There's not a lot of notes for this, but this match was a clusterfuck. And it's the six-way match for the vacant U.S. title. Shannon Moore and Shane Helms are here. Shannon says only two of for the cruiserweight title. Sorry. Shane Helms says only two of us here and said we are better than anything else. Then everyone comes and starts wrestling. Kristen Candido isn't even here. I forgot that Juventud was in the match. This is, I say, clusterfuck. Juvi and Chris show up. Everyone is just battling around. Chris slams Shannon. People are just around the ring. Like it seems like everyone has like a valet or someone. Like Kristen Candido doesn't have anyone at first. Taft Cappy has Paisley. Shannon Moore has Shane Helms. And Crowbar has Daphne and David Flair. So it's like fucking people overload here. So Chris ducks the clothesline and tries a DDT on Crowbar, but Crowbar hits a Northern Light suplex and tries to keep getting a pin. Lash keeps interrupting the pin, and Lash isn't tagging in. No one can tag in. It's like they're like all on meth or something, just running around. I don't know what meth is. I'm just assuming. Lash hits a special on Crowbar, which I think it's like I don't know, something. Tony didn't call it, so I didn't fucking know it. Okay, guys? Lash hits a special on Crowbar, but Prince and Juvi interrupts. I'm like, this makes zero sense. Juvi hits a Juvi driver on Lash, but Prince interrupts. So much shit is happening here. Daphne gets on an apron and hits a Hurricane Rana. It was aiming for Crowbar, but like it was aiming for Juvi, but gets Crowbar. Juvi then kicks Daphne and tried a Juvi driver, but Crowbar stopped it. Everyone then dives on everyone. They somehow don't catch Juvi despite 4 people being there. He fucking splats like a bug. David Flair comes in and attacks Shane Helms. And then it's just Artist and Candido in the ring. Artist crotches Candido from the other side of the ring. Artist tries a superplex, but Candido shoves him off. Candido then misses a diving headbutt, and Artist hits a Samoan drop. And then Tammy shows up and pushes Artist, who's on the top rope, off the top rope, and Chris Candido wins. After the match, Paisley attacks Tammy, and a horrible catfight happens. Then it's stopped by 2 people. One's the ref, and I don't even know the other person. They get hit in the nuts by Paisley and Tammy. They start fighting again. This is just a shit match. Save the shit for Nitro or something, like where they could get some time. This was nothing. This went 5-12. So much shit happened. I was like, this isn't Lucha. All these people fucking suck. Nothing happened. It was just like high spot after high spot after high spot. And it was dumb.
Yeah, this is like one of those Lucha Underground matches where I take way too many notes and pause about 500 times in the middle of it. So, but your official members of the match were Candido, Crowbar, Lash LaRue, Taft Cappy, Shannon Moore, and Juventud Guerrera. So those were your 6. But yeah, you would think there were 50 people in this match based on how much chaos there was going on. It didn't even go 6 minutes. It was 5:12, I think, as you may have just said that, but I'm looking at it on the Wikipedia page right now. But just almost 5.5 minutes of just pure chaos. And Candido obviously wins with some help from Tammy. And yeah, like you said, it was kind of a weak cat fight after the match, but this would be a nightmare to grade because some of the chaos was good, but it was a lot to kind of take in and a lot to handle at the same time. So it would have been a tough one to kind of put a grade on. I'm glad we don't do that here.
Yeah, like thank God, because I was just like, nope, not doing that. So we go backstage. Like I said, Mean Gene's busy tonight, and he's with Jeff Jarrett. And Mean Gene told him what DDP had to say. Jeff says, "Don't be a wise ass." Jeff's the chosen one. He has Russo and Bischoff as well as the New Blood, and he says, "You can choke on that, you Geritol slap ass." And then he leaves. Geritol slap ass.
He mentioned slapping his liver spots off again too, which was amazing.
Yeah, I might have to use that on an old. We have to keep that in our back pocket, Logan. So we finally got the tag finals, guys. Fucking finally. And it's Team Package versus Franchise and Buff. Russo comes out with Franchise. Russo joins commentary, and he says he's Batman and says the new tag champs will be Douglas and Buff. Lex and Buff start off. Buff offers a handshake, and Lex takes it, but he kicks him. Lex sends Buff in the corner, but then he charges and he eats a boot. Buff then slams Luger, and he poses, but Luger pops up, and he poses on his own and hits a clothesline and slams him. Buff gets an eye rake and tags to Shane. Shane beats down Lex and slams him into a turnbuckle. Shane kicks Luger in the ribs, and then he chokes Luger. Shane picks up Lex, but Luger and does a Irish whip. Luger reverses it and hits a gorilla press slam. And they're close, and Flair tags in. He actually pulls Shane out of the ring, and he starts beating down Shane. Flair sends Shane back to the ring and chops him. Shane pokes Flair in the eye and gets a tag to Buff. Buff punches Flair, then sends him in the corner and hits a back body drop. Buff hits a clothesline, then gets a chin lock on Flair. Shane comes in and chokes Flair, and then hits a clothesline, then drops Flair with a punch. Keeps rocking him with punches. Shane taunts Luger, and then Luger distracts the ref. And this makes Luger distract the ref, and Shane and Buff double team Flair. Flair tries to fight back, but Buff pounds on Flair. Buff pushes the ref, and then Buff slams Flair head first into Shane's foot on his boot. Shane hits Flair with a shoulder block, but they headbutted here. And then Shane does the Flair flop, but Flair doesn't really get all of it. So Shane says, "Fuck you, Flair," and pounds on him again. And then he sends him in the corner again and hits the Flair flop, and Luger then comes in and clotheslines Shane. Then Buff and Luger are tagged in. Luger hits everyone forearm and clotheslines, then hits a double clothesline. Flair's in the ring, and he puts Shane in the figure four. Buff takes out Luger and hits up and breaks up the figure four. Shane's holding Flair, and Buff's going to hit a blockbuster, but Flair moves, and Buff hits the blockbuster from Shane by accident. Flair has the pin. Russo then gets up, and he pulls the ref out of the ring. The ref and Russo start pushing each other. It's that piece of shit Nick Patrick, so fuck him. And then Brian Adams and Brian Clark showing up wearing the tightest fucking shirts we've seen, and they hit a double choke slam on Luger. And while this was happening, Russo had beat down Nick Patrick and took off his ref shirt. He puts on a ref shirt and counts the pin of Buff pinning Luger. Even Tony says this doesn't make any sense. And then after the match, Shane hits Flair with the bat. Yeah, I didn't hate this match, Logan.
Yeah, I really didn't either. Shane has to get his shot back in afterwards. This is where I'm going to bring up the point about Flair wearing the shirt and pants. I understand him not loving how his body looked at this point. I get it. I don't always love how mine looks either when I get into the pool or something like that, or whatever. But I feel like maybe I get the earlier match, like, maybe you just showed up to the arena, blah, blah, blah. You didn't have time to change or whatever you want to say. But it just feels like you don't kind of give a shit at this point that you didn't change throughout the rest of the night. Cause it's not like that match was like recently. It was early, it was earlier on in the night at this point. I love Luger making fun of the Buff dance when when Buff does the dance and Luger's kind of behind him. That was absolutely hilarious. He also tells Douglas, Douglas yells "fuck you, Flair" in the corner when he's kind of raining down punches.
Yes.
I thought that was really funny as well. I thought Luger was a really good hot tag in this match. Russo, like you kind of mentioned, Russo pulls out and attacks Nick Patrick, so I kind of am okay with that. And then we get the Chronic debut, of course, and they double choke slam Luger. So the New Blood team of the guy that's been here since 1991, and the other guy who was also in a tag team and was tag team champion in WCW in 1991, could win the tag team titles for the New Blood. So, a solid match kind of out of nowhere with, four guys that you kind of wouldn't expect to have a solid match. Interesting to have Chronic in here now. We'll see. I mean, obviously they don't have the names yet, but we'll see what they can kind of do. I feel like I've heard good things about some of their run, but we'll see how we kind of like them now that they've debuted.
Yeah, so we're going to see what happens. I forgot Chronic debuted as heels, then they turned into the Great Value APA, but we'll get to that. I love Tony even saying this doesn't make any sense, because it didn't. But Mean Gene, we go back to Mean Gene, and he's with Scott Steiner. Scott says he represents himself, and he's a genetic freak. And then he says that one of his arms is bigger than both of Sting's arms, which I thought was funny. And Scott says Mean Gene, find Sting and tell him his ass is mine. And then we have a video that plays, and then Mean Gene's back with Sting, and Sting says, Bischoff and Russo, you won a war, you got war. Sting says Scott Steiner will be the next casualty, and it's showtime. This leads us to our semi-main event, which is the U.S. Tournament Finals. and it's Scott Steiner versus Sting. Match starts, and Scott uses power to take down Sting. He hammers in the corner, but then Sting ducks 2 clotheslines, and he hits 2 drop kicks of his own. Scott rolls out of the ring, and Sting actually hits a crossbody from the ring to the floor. Sting throws Scott in the ring, and Sting went for a splash off the top, but Scott got his knees up. Scott then hit a military press slam on Sting. Scott hits a Steiner line on Sting and then hits an elbow drop and gets 2. Scott threatens the ref for counting slow. And then Scott hits an underhook suplex on Sting and then talks shit to the crowd. So much shit that he hops out of the ring. Looks like he's about to take on the midget in the front row. He's not a midget. He's just a very short person. And he gets back in the ring. Scott puts Sting in the corner, and he tried to super belly to belly, but Sting fights it off, and he knocks Scott down. Sting hits 2 clotheslines, then hits a Stinger splash. He went for another one, but Scott pulls the ref in the way. Sting goes back to hit a 3rd Stinger splash, but Vampiro pops up through the ring and pulls Sting under the ring. And everyone's like, what the fuck's going on? Vampiro then brings Sting back up, and Sting is bleeding from his mouth. So I don't know what the hell happened. Scott wakes up the ref, and he puts Sting in the Steiner recliner. Ref calls for the bell. Scott Steiner wins. Kind of shitty way for this to end. I was hoping, it would be they could have some fuckery, but not like this weird shit. I mean, this is like when you're starting to see them trying to turn Vampiro into their Undertaker with coming from the ring shit.
Yeah, it was a little over the top, but again, another solid back and forth. I kind of thought this was another solid match. So, U.S. title tournament, at least these two, I thought pulled through in almost every opportunity that they got. Yeah, you get the little Undertaker Kane kind of shit with Vampiro at the end. Obviously offers Sting back up unconscious, and then Steiner's basically just handed the U.S. title, which is a good way to go. It's a new guy kind of having that title. So I agree with the decision to give it to him, but yeah, the hokey bullshit with Vampiro might have not been necessary. They were having a solid match, and could have just kind of been left alone and had Steiner win clean.
That'd be too easy, Logan. That'd be too fucking easy. Whatever. But obviously, everyone from the New Bloods won a title besides Terry Funk, so that's what we're setting up. We see a promo package for DDP and Jeff Jarrett, which is stuff we went over to the past 2 episodes. They're obviously trying to skill for time because we see both of their full entrances from their locker room. So obviously, this takes up multiple minutes. And this is actually the longest match of the night, 15:02. I'll get to if I like it or not. But the match starts and DDP takes down Jeff with punches. DDP hits his discus clothesline, then hits an atomic drop. Jeff went for a hip toss, but DDT reverses it to a DDT and gets 2. I actually like that, Logan. So someone should probably steal that. And then Jeff rolls outside and DDP dives on him. DDP holds Kimberly up and she slaps Jeff. That's 1, guys. DDP throws Jeff in the crowd, and they battle through the crowd, which I'm sure brought back Logan got PTSD from Highway when Jeff Jarrett's all matches used to fucking battle in the crowd. We actually couldn't see much for long because see, I know you too well, Logan. I was like, he just had a fucking Nom-like flashback. Mm-hmm. And WCW cameraman is not ready, so we missed most of the battle of them, of the announcers trying to commentate when there's a shit ton of fans there. Then they finally get a cameraman out there, but it's by the time they're walking back and Jeff hits DDP with the trash can, they battle back to the ring. Jeff then grabs Kimberly and he throws Kimberly on DDP and then punches her. That's 2. DDP gets advantage and tries a sunset flip, but Jeff actually sat on him and gets 2. DDP reversed and got 2 of his own. DDP went up top, but Jeff hits the ropes and DDP crotches himself. Jeff actually hits the right ropes instead of the ropes on the other side of the ring. That's what fucking stupid-ass Tad Cappy did earlier. Jeff punches DDP, then hits a superplex. Jeff grabs a chair and he hits DDP with the chair. Jeff is in control. He sends DDP in the corner. Jeff gets on the middle rope and hits an axe handle to the back, and he does it again. Talk about how DDP's back is hurt, and that's why he's been out, but he rushed himself back. So he's working over his back. DDP reverses an Irish whip and gets an elbow. Both men are down. The ref starts counting to 10. They get up, and DDP punches Jeff, and DDP hits a power bomb and gets 2. Eric Bischoff, for some reason, comes out, and he's standing in the aisle. Both men actually start fighting outside the ring and fighting out a little bit, but Eric backs away, so he's near the entrance ramp. Jeff throws DDP in the guardrail. Jeff tries to hit DDP with the ring bell, but missed. But for some reason, someone had positively Page, and Jeff tears up the book and hits DDP with it. Jeff throws DDP in the ring and crotches DDP on the ring post. Before Jeff can do any more, Kimberly grabs Jeff by the hair to stop him. That's 3. Jeff says, "You better back off of me, bitch," which made me laugh. Jeff tried again, but DDP used his leg strength and he pulls Jeff into the ring post. Jeff gets in the ring and chokes DDP. DDP is able to get the advantage. He grabs him and starts punching him. DDP actually does a baseball slide under Jeff, and he crotches Jeff on the ring post, which was pretty nice. DDP then gets back in the ring, and he went for the diamond cutter, but Jeff held onto the ropes, and the ref got hit because, of course, we get a ref bump. Jeff hits DDP with the belt, but this only gets 2. Eric's starting to walk closer to the ring. He's on one side of the ring. Jeff gets a figure 4, and Kimberly gets the guitar, and she's on the other side of the ring. Jeff still has the figure 4. The ref is counting for 2. DDP is still in the figure 4, but he's fading. He rises up every time the ref counts. DDP starts fighting out and was able to grab the ropes. Jeff tries again for the figure 4. DDP gets an inside cradle and gets a 2. Jeff argues with the ref, and DDP gets a roll-up and also gets 2. Jeff then tries for a double axe handle, but DDP catches him and hits a Uranagi that gets 2 as well. Both men get up, and Jeff gets a sleeper hold. DDP fights off, and he elbows Jeff. Eric then jumps up on the ring to argue with the ref. DDP hits the diamond cutter on Jeff. Kim is now on the ring apron, and DDP holds up Jeff so Kimberly can hit him. And shock, Logan. Kimberly hits DDP with the guitar, and Jeff hits the stroke, and it's over. Kimberly and Eric hug after the match. The new blood come down and celebrate, and it's just the champions that come down. Shane and Buff hold up Jeff as the show goes off. This makes no sense. I was counting out how many times Kimberly had a chance to do something, or had something wrong happen to her by Jeff, or she attacks Jeff, and that was the count. It was up to 4. It's just bullshit. This was actually a pretty decent match. I didn't like Jeff going for sleeper holds in figure 4 when it's supposed to be like our crescendo of the match. So that's what knocked it down for me. And I didn't like the brawling, which you're used to, Logan. And the ending makes no sense. Like, why would Kimberly want to join? They sort of hinted towards it at Thunder, but there was no issues during when they were talking with Mean Gene at all. Like, it's like there's a swerve, bro, for fucking swerve's sake, and it's dumb.
Yeah, I mean, she can do almost nothing being in that position. And even if she turns on DDP, just smash him with the guitar, walk away. Seemingly joining the New Blood doesn't really make sense. She's not a wrestler. I think we've seen her in a match, stupidly enough, but she's not a wrestler. She's not all that compelling as a character. I think we've kind of seen her be a character before. She's hot. I mean, I'll give her that. But, other than just being DDP's wife, she's not all that entertaining in the spots that they have put her in. So that doesn't make a ton of sense. Like you said, she could have turned on him 10 times in the match before she actually does. And she even helps him at one point. So that makes even less sense, I feel like. So just even stupider. Like you said, you'll never believe it, but minutes into the match, they battle into the crowd. The Jeff Jarrett special, the TNA Jeff Jarrett special. He likes to wrestle in the ring as little as possible, which can be entertaining if you do it every now and then. But when you do it every match, it's not. It can get a little worse. So, but yeah, I mean, another match that's not. This is probably not the match I would have given 15 minutes. It's for the world title, so I kind of get it. But yeah, it was fine. Jeff Jarrett's solid, DDP's solid. It was never going to be bad, I would say, but it wasn't just this great main event. And another just kind of stupid ending, because who kind of gives a shit about Kimberly Page, honestly? I'm not. It's probably shitty of me, but I kind of don't care.
I mean, I just think she's hot. There we go. But yeah,
that doesn't make
dumb.
a compelling wrestling character all the time, though.
Oh no, not at all. It's just so frustrating, and I understand they want the New Blood to have all the titles, but maybe they should have had some wins that weren't nefarious means. And it's just like, God damn it. Like, sucks the wind out of it. Like, the crowd was going crazy for DDP, but it was. Yeah, it's just nothing. It's just nothing. But this brings us to let's go over some things, guys. So the champs going in, vacant, everyone. Our world champ after the show, Jeff Jarrett. U.S. champ, Scott Steiner. Tag champs, Shane Douglas and Buff. Cruiserweight champ, Chris Candido. Hardcore champ, Terry Funk. I put most absurd, illogical endings. Anything you else like to add?
No, just throughout the night, just illogical booking and just not a lot that made a lot of sense. Just probably the Kim stuff at the end, honestly.
Yeah, what was good? I don't even know.
Sting and Steiner is all I would say. I think they were both good in all of their matches.
What was bad? I got too many matches, no clean finishes.
Way too many matches. Definitely could have slimmed it down and had some of the stuff on Nitro and or Thunder.
They could have had Mancow and Jimmy be on the pre-show. There's no reason for that.
Yeah, that could have just been like a crowd pleaser or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we had 14 matches tonight, guys. 1 clean finish, 13 non-clean or non-finishes. 0 pole matches tonight. We're still stuck at 5. These people were lying about these fucking pole matches, Logan. We had 2 gimmick matches tonight. That brings us up to 94 total. We had 1 guitar shot. That brings us up to 30 total. How many different things happened tonight? Did you write that down?
35.
It seemed like a lot. 35. 35.
And about 25 of those were Gene interviews.
Yes. We are now at 44 total title chains. Because we have 5 tonight, guys. Who knows if we'll have more? I'm sure we will have more next week, in 2 weeks when we talk about Nitro, and then a month when we talk about Thunder. But as we close out here, Logan, I got one question to ask you. Are you smarter than Vince Russo's WCW?
1,000%. This is one of the worst book cards, I think, maybe ever.
It's only going to get worse because 2,000 pay-per-views aren't good. So
it
can't wait for
like
that.
We said earlier, it had potential, but it just they scuffed it big time.
Yes, I can't wait till we get to where Chronic main events against Goldberg and Halloween Havoc. So in like a 5-minute match. But that brings an end to another episode of Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW? As always, I'm Scott Shuflett. He's Logan Crossland. Thank you all for listening. Thanks, Logan, for being on this bench with me. Stay positive, everyone.
It's just one of those days where you don't want to wake up. Everything is fucked. Everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you want to justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact. And if you interact, your life is on contract. Your best bet is to stay away, motherfucker. It's just one of those days.